Let's go now for the final one. George Horwood. There we go. Graduate, character, creature artist. Remove the graduate. You don't need to include that. You can just have character and creature artist, and that's it. And we have a couple of them. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, so it's interesting. You don't need to include the inspire one. You can just say fan art or whatever. Art's a different one. You have your own. Well, it's the ArtStation stuff, right? Research. Okay. Okay, that's the concept. We need to work a little bit more on the forms, my friend. This is one of those situations where I understand that you have all of the knowledge, or you've gone through all of the stages of understanding how it works to do retopology, how it works, how you do hair cards, for instance. But there are certain things that we're missing from the concept, and it has to do with the forms. So we go here for the normal map, for instance. Interesting. What did you do here? Yeah, so for instance, this, I'm not sure this would fly on a studio, having just like the rocks embedded on the character. They would either ask you to work with the topology so that everything is a single mesh, because otherwise the formation might be a little bit weird. And this is small ones, the ones that don't change the silhouette, you probably just bake those down to save on poly count. Yeah, because right now here's what I'm comparing, right? Like I'm looking at the top of the head, at the details that we have right here, and then I look at the concept that you were using, and it feels way more complex. Even the color variation and the texture, right? Like feels way more intense. So we need to get a little bit closer to that to really get that information in there. And you can see how the form also looks a little bit too soft in general, I think. We need to work a little bit more on facial forms, especially the eyelids right there. They're missing a little bit of the important information. Too dense. It's 30Ks, but I don't feel it's very optimized, man. 30K? Looks way more than 30K though. Apology. Yeah, that looks way. And the UVs, man, these are not good UVs. They're not as well organized as they should. So it's important that we take care of it. Texturing looks fine though. I really like what you did with the texturing, to be honest. Like it looks very nice. But the UVs, they're killing you, man. Look at this. Look at the gun right there. All of those like thin lines and thin elements. Look at all of that wasted space. I showed you the UVs from the sneak peek a couple of minutes ago, right? And I tried to pack everything, and there's a lot to pack on that UV in one UV. It's just one 4K UV that we're using, and it's way more optimized. Like all of those loops, not great. Like we need to really work on some of the technical side of things. They have this stylized character, Valerion. Final project year. I like the fact that you are doing the full process. Like that's very important and that's very valuable. But we do need to polish the details on some of that process a little bit more. I'm a little bit scared of taking a look at the wireframe right now. Am I gonna get disappointed? No, it's actually not that bad. You can bake a lot of this stuff. Like you can minimize some of the elements, but actually you did a really good job on this retopology. Yeah, this one's good. Definitely more stylized, right? Kind of reminds me of like Spyro. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Spyro by Spyro Reignited Trilogy. So yeah, definitely that kind of stuff. I really struggle with the realistic stuff, but you'll see it go way down later. The portfolio, the realism stuff was done at the beginning of my school career, but I began to see my mistake. Yeah, awesome, man. I'm glad you've been able to pinpoint that. But yeah, this is way better, man. Like style, and don't get me wrong, stylized is not easy. Okay, stylized is not easy stuff. A lot of people that can do really like hardcore realistic things struggle a lot with stylized stuff, and a lot of people who can do really hardcore stylized stuff struggle a lot with realistic. So they're not really interchangeable. They share a lot of like the core fundamentals and core principles, but they are tricky. So the fact that you were able to nail this one, really good, really good. The only thing that I don't like about this one, and again this is a little bit of my personal opinion, is the textures, the colors. They look a little bit too flat. Okay. So I'm not sure what I haven't seen the Spyro stuff, but I would imagine that there's going to be a little bit more highlight and a little bit more light involved, because right now it definitely looks a little bit too flat. I mean, you can probably tell me if I'm wrong there, but I would expect to see a little bit more light. For instance, we start just like adding a little bit of lighter color here, here. And on the areas where I would expect the light to be hitting a little bit more, this letter to like color dodge. Especially from afar. I know right now it's very hard. We would need to blend everything. But I would expect to see, you know, a little bit more transition there, if that makes sense. Oh, nice. Yeah, so you're doing more stylized stuff. That's cool. Okay, yeah, this one's not as good as the last one that we just reviewed, but it's a fun character. Looks like a fun character. My advice is decide what you want to do, George. Decide whether you want to do realistic stuff or you want to do more stylized stuff. And if you want to do more stylized stuff, really focus on this kind of elements, like Valerion and this like Castronaut or whatever. It looks a lot better. I would just work a little bit more on the texture side of things. This Raxborn also looks interesting. That would play a little bit more with silhouette in this one. On the design of the silhouette to really push it. Let me show you here. This is one of those things that as a character artist, you're not going to be dealing too much with unless you're working on your own stuff. But for instance, here on the pants, one of the things that we can do is really sharpen this thing up. That makes sense. You make it a little bit more baggy so that we get an interesting silhouette sort of like going out as it goes towards the boot. Same right here. Like don't be scared to push some of the silhouette, because that's what makes cloth look more realistic, right? All of those folds that we get right there. Everything else is fine. It's just a cloth where we can sort of like push this a little bit more. Same for the boots. Like let's exaggerate the shape of the boot, make it bigger. It sort of like flares out towards the ground. Do you remember Disney Infinity, the game? It was a big game back in the day. So it's one of those things where you can exaggerate this kind of elements to really push. You can see the difference here, right? Oh, there, right? So it's small changes, but it really changes, or it really affects how we perceive the characters. Instead of looking like a smooth character all the way around, we start getting a little bit more of that like intense sharp effect, right? Like I feel like this is sort of like one of the secrets for a nice stylized character, how we approach and how we tackle the silhouette of the character. Okay.